Review time. Let's talk about Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
For the 3DS on my special edition gold-plated Zelda: A Link Between Worlds 3DS XL.
Was that nerd?
No, seriously though, this game is awesome. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for Super Nintendo is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Legend of Zelda game out of the entire series. Most people will say Ocarina nowadays. I think Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past was a superior game.
Majora's Mask, best one.
Majora's Mask is awesome, but it's
this is different.
Yeah,
different playing field.
Yeah,
it's like all right, if you like all the Super Nintendo games, the NES games, the Game Boy, like Oracle of Seasons, Ages, Link to the Past. This game is like.
Don't mention Link's Awakening. That was the worst one.
Link's Awakening rules.
So what you're saying is this Zelda for the 3DS looks exactly like and plays exactly like every other Zelda game that's ever been made for a portable system.
Actually,
except
no.
It's got a 3DS paint job.
It's got a new look.
I would never have guessed.
No, it actually has.
Every Zelda's the same. It's just got a new paint job on it.
Yeah,
They're all
whatever.
exactly the same.
No,
except for Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is good. The problem with Majora's Mask is there's only like 3 dungeons. So that's
but there's
what
so
really,
many masks.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
Most
the
of them
only
don't
one
do
that's different.
anything.
They're all exactly the same.
Nah, that's.
That being said, I love
completely
Zelda.
wrong.
Sign me up.
Yeah, it's awesome though. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I really like the Super Nintendo game, but this game did everything that did, but like better. I mean, obviously the graphics have a similar look, except being in 3D. But the colors were perfect. The soundtrack, again, they took it and they updated it, which makes sense because, I mean, one's part of the same franchise anyways, but this one's a direct sequel, and I was psyched when they announced that. So this one, does everything that A Link to the Past does, except with like an updated coat of paint. Obviously, it is a different game though, with like new dungeons and new characters, new enemies, but it still has that familiar look because it's years after the original one took place.
It's
one
the
thing
same
I
game.
Tom, do you not like Zelda?
I love Zelda, but it's all like Zeldas are all very similar to each other.
He's a Sega kid.
Please. Well, yeah, I mean, all the Zeldas are similar, but I mean, they all do something different. And that's the thing, though.
They each have their own charm.
They're all solid, yes. In fact, each do have their own charm. But this game's awesome, though. What I really liked about is the different things they've actually done with this series. For one thing, you don't have to do every dungeon in a specific order. You can kind of, like all the other games since Link to the Past, actually, you get your 3 beginner dungeons, which you can tackle in any order, and then the real story kicks in, and then you'll have 7 or 8 dungeons you go through. And same thing, you can tackle them in any order. One of the reasons being is you don't get items specifically out of dungeons. You actually rent them from a character that you meet right in the beginning.
And you can pretty much get all the items right away.
Yeah.
Right when you start, you pretty much have access to all the items. You just have to buy them. You rent them.
Yeah.
And choose to keep them.
Yeah, you can rent them and eventually buy them. And it's cool because they don't design all these puzzles specifically around an item. They had to be more creative with the puzzle design, and it was awesome. A lot of them had you scratching your head for a bit, but nothing that was so insanely difficult where I was stuck on it for days and having to look up a game facts or anything like that. Really, I can't say anything really bad about the game. I guess the worst thing I'd have to say is the length. I was 14, 15 hours. Took me a few days to play through, which is on par with what a lot of the Zelda games are, except for some of the newer full 3D ones. But I didn't feel like there was any filler in this game. Every bit I enjoyed, and so when I finished it, I did want to play more. But I guess I'd rather them sacrifice long gameplay time for constant interesting gameplay. The soundtrack in this game, that again, that's another thing that really carried over from Link to the Past. One of my favorite themes from the Zelda series, the Dark World theme. They have an updated version of that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's awesome. It sounds really awesome in this game. So if you're a fan of the soundtrack, specifically from the Super Nintendo game Link to the Past, I mean, you're going to love this because they took everything and updated it with higher quality sound.
But speaking of the Dark World theme, Smooth McGroove on YouTube did an excellent, which you showed me, did an excellent cover of that.
He did. Shout out to Smooth McGroove.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. But anyways, continue.
Oh, but it really bogs down to if you like Zelda at all, and if you really like A Link to the Past,
highly recommended.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this game did everything right that I wanted to see in a Zelda game. And I've liked pretty much every Zelda game done by Nintendo, not the Philips CDI games, obviously. And
Those are the best.
yeah, right. I will say this though, I go back. I went back to the Super Nintendo one the most, and I played Ocarina a bunch too. But a lot of the later ones, and I liked Skyward Sword, I liked Twilight Princess, but there's so much. I felt like there was a lot of filler content where, but before you could get to the next dungeon or the next big part of the game, you had to do all these collection quests, and it was fun, but it kind of burns you out. Where this one, it starts, you get your intro, you get your sword, and then you're just off, and you're just going through dungeons, solving puzzles. Killing enemies, fighting bosses, collecting hearts. Yeah, it was great. Steven?
I mean, you said it. The game is
summed it
awesome.
all.
It's a solid sequel, and
I look forward to playing more. I mean, with that said, I'll keep it short because I think I just kind of said everything I could say about this game.
I didn't even let anybody else talk.
Yeah, Jeff.
What do you guys have to say about this game?
So how does this game
I've got
compare
something
to
to say here.
Minish Cap?
Oh, it's way better than Minish Cap.
No.
Minish Cap was fun, but after I played that game, I just was kind of that was it. For this game, it really drew me in.
No, because you liked. I know you think. I heard you say that Link to the Past was your favorite Zelda game. Was this? And this is obviously a direct sequel. Is this your second favorite? Would you say?
This actually might be my new favorite.
Even better than Link to the Past?
Well, yeah, because this does everything that I loved about Link to the Past, but just with a newer generation update.
Yeah.
And nothing's dumbed down in this game. It's the same difficulty. The exploring state, because the overworld looks very similar, but there's a lot. But it's
we're
not
looking at the map. And
yeah, it's not copy and pasted. There's lots of new stuff in there, and it makes sense. I didn't want them to change the overworld because if it's a direct sequel, it wouldn't make sense to have a completely different overworld. So they did the necessary updates to, even though a lot of it looks the same. When you really dig down and explore a lot of the areas, it's just it's new, just with a familiar look.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's everything about this game was awesome. With that being
Zelda.
said, I think Zelda: A Link Between Worlds is a must-play or must-buy.
So that's the verdict.
ditto.
Oh,
Let's
definitely.
put up the, there it is.
If you enjoy just a solid fantasy adventure, and especially if you already have a 3DS, this game is, without a doubt, you have to play it.
If you feel like just hang out in Hyrule, yeah, like Jeff said.
There you go. You want to hang out in Hyrule or Low Rule, play it.
Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bow. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bow. Bum, ba-da, bum, bow.
There you go, Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Alright, Sleens, here it is. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and check out another video.